Hello everyone, my name is Pawan Kumaran and I am currently pursuing MCA at Manasa Gangotri, Mysore. In this video, I will be discussing on a system based on artificial intelligence which can be used to solve the traffic congestion problem. The primary goal of AI is not world domination or self-driving vehicles or robots which are smarter than humans. AI primary goal is to solve our day-to-day problems. One of them is traffic congestion problem. Just the traffic problem may seem trivial, but the various problems caused by this traffic congestion, from an employee losing his job because of the delay in the traffic to a patient losing his precious time, which could have been used to help in saving his life that got wasted in traffic. If we see it like that, traffic problem is still severe. So that we propose a system which takes the advantages of AI technologies to solve the problem to a certain point. Let's continue. Presentation contents. It includes introduction, abstract, existing system, proposed system, design phase, technologies used, feasibility study, functional and non-functional requirements, implementation and testing, conclusion, and future work. Let's begin with the introduction. One of the byproducts of the rampage of technological development and advancement and modernization is the traffic jam. Nowadays, it is very common phenomena in our daily life. This is especially a huge problem in congested cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, where traffic jam is actually one of the largest social problems. A study has found that people yearly lose 8.15 million hours, 40% which are working hours in traffic jams. This project includes the design and implementation of an intelligent and automated traffic control system which takes the advantage of computer vision and image processing techniques. Continuation. This is a complete traffic management system which can reduce traffic jams and congestion on a simulated environment. It detects the number of vehicles on each road depending on the vehicle's load. On each road, the system assigns optimized amount of waiting. I will be explaining this in the later section. The design system can help solving traffic problems in busy cities to a great extent by saving a significant amount of man-hours that get lost on waiting jammed roads. The system focused on factors low-cost image processing and traffic load balancing. Abstract. The proposed system which takes the advantage of computer vision and image processing techniques to solve the traffic congestion problem. It detects the number of vehicles on each road, and depending on the vehicle load on each road, the system assigns the optimized amount of waiting. It's a fully automated system that can replace the conventional predetermined fixed time based traffic system. Existing system. So that traditional manual system which uses traffic police to control the traffic is a manual method, and the automation has been introduced in traffic management already. At the present, there are two available approaches to control traffic. One is by sensing vehicles with pressure plates on road, and the other one is using RFID tags on number plates and placing RFID readers on road. So you can see here the images of the two existing systems using pressure plates and using RFID technologies. So how pressure plate works is each vehicle will have pressure plates and the sensors will be placed on roads. Whenever the vehicle passes through those sensors, it will be counted and the number of vehicles will be counted to assign the optimum amount of waiting. So similarly, the RFID stands for radio frequency identification. Each vehicle will have RFID tags installed on the number plates, and each road will have the RFID readers which reads those RFID tags using radio frequency waves and detects the number of vehicles and assigns the optimum amount of waiting. So what are the disadvantages of this existing system is RFID tags and readers are more costlier, and detection of pressure plates is expensive. It takes more time to detect objects and less accurate. Manual method of traffic control is a waste resource. Proposed system. The existing system have many disadvantages using less cost effective and more advanced technology, computer vision and CNN to detect objects and manage traffic efficiently. Accurate object detection, AI that works without any person's involvement, advanced CNN algorithm to detect objects within less time. How the proposed system works. Pre-processing. Pre-processing is an improvement of image that suppresses unwanted distortions and enhances image features for further processing. And the traffic video is live detected, and as we know, traffic signals each will have its own traffic cameras, and using those cameras we can extract the video. When the video gets inputted to the system, the frames are extracted. As we know, frames are the still images in the videos, so each frame will be extracted from the video and the frames will be converted to RGB to grayscale. Why this conversion required is RGB to grayscale conversion helps in detection of objects easily and efficiently. The objects are detected and extracted from each frame, and the extracted objects are compared with the Google's TensorFlow open source library. And how when the comparison happens with the Google's TensorFlow, the objects categorized into various sections or different vehicle are classified into their class, and based on the number of objects, the signal interval is set to solve the congestion problem using CNN, convolutional neural network. So what are the advantages of proposed system? It's the automated object detection live through traffic cameras, accurate object detection, reduces the time complexity and less implementation cost. Dynamically changing signal helps in saving a lot of time as well as human resource. So system design. So it's the basic representation of a system. So the videos get input to the system and it extracts the frames, converts them into grayscale, and pre-process the video or the images to improve the features and detect the object and compare it with the Google trained dataset and use the CNN to classify those objects, and the objects are detected accurately. So flow diagram. So how the flow works in the system. So we give input video and the frames are extracted, and the extracted regions are the features in the images or the frames, and the compute CNN features and classify the regions. System architecture. So as you can see here, the client side scripting requires Python, and we use deep learning CNN, and in database we have video that uses CSV. So different stages in architecture. So first stage we have data gathering and feature generation, and in second stage we impute missing values and data cleaning, data normalization, randomized data ordering, feature selection and extraction. The third stage we use the data which can be trained, validated and tested, and model selection, training, parameter optimization, evaluate and testing and analyze. So data flow diagram. The DFD is also called bubble chart. It can be used to represent a system in terms of input to the system, various processing carried out on this data, and the output data is generated by this system. A data flow diagram is a way of representing a flow of data of the process or the system. The DFD also provides information about the output and inputs of each entity and the process itself. A data flow diagram has no control flow, there is no decision rules, no loops. Specific operations based on the data can be represented by a flowchart. So this is the zero level DFD. It only shows the input and output of the system. In the level 1 DFD, it shows how internal process works in DFD. So it contains video which give input to the system and process, and it converts to frames, grayscale conversion. We test the data set, train it, and object detection with using TensorFlow. Activity diagram. An activity diagram is a visual representation of a series of actions or a flow of control in a system similar to a flowchart or a data flow diagram. Activity diagrams are often used in business process modeling. They can be also described the steps in use case diagram. Activities modeled can be sequentially and concurrent. In both cases, an activity diagram will have a beginning and an end. The activity diagram, the video is the input and the processing happens from frames to grayscale, segmentation and testing with accuracy. There are errors, the system gets exit. So let's continue with the sequence diagram. The sequence diagram shows the object interaction arranged in time sequence. It depicts the objects and classes involved in the scenario and the sequence of messages exchanged between the objects needed to carry out the functionality of the scenario. Sequence diagrams are typically associated with use case realization in the logical view of the system under development. Sequence diagrams are sometimes called event diagram or event scenarios. So the video gets inputted and you can see the time segments here, the image conversion, and after that grayscale conversion, and then segmentation and testing and training with the video accuracy as the output. The entity relation diagram. The entity relation diagram, you can say the use case diagram, is a dynamic or a behavior diagram in UML. Use case diagrams model the functionality of a system using actors and use cases. Use cases are a set of actions, services, and functions that our system needs to perform. In this context, a system is something being developed or operated, such as the website. The actors are the people or entities operating under the defined roles within the system. So this is the system boundary. It includes the video frame conversion, grayscale conversion, test train accuracy. Technologies used. Python. Python is an interpreted high-level general-purpose programming language. This language constructs an object-oriented approach aimed to help programmers write clear, logical code for small and large-scale projects. Python is a dynamically typed and garbage collected. It supports multiple programming paradigms, including procedural, object-oriented, and functional programming. Python is often described as batteries included language due to its comprehensive standard library. NumPy is a library for Python programming language, adding support for large multidimensional arrays, matrices, along with a large collection of high-level mathematical functions to operate on these arrays. Scikit-learn. Scikit-learn is a free software machine learning library for Python programming language. It features various classification, regression, and clustering algorithms, including support vector machines, random forest, gradient boosting, k-means, and dbScan, and is designed to interpret with the Python numerical and scientific libraries NumPy and SciPy. Pygame. Pygame is a cross-platform set of Python modules designed for writing video games, creating simulations. It includes computer graphics and sound libraries designed to be used with Python. Here we use the rich features of Pygame to implement a simulation version of our system, which includes the route as well as the demo vehicles, which fully shows the implementation of our working system. Image classification. Image classification involves predicting the class of one object in an image. Predict the type of or the class of an object. Input an image with a single object such as a photograph. Output a class label. Example, one or more integers that are mapped to class labels. Object localization. Object localization refers to identifying the location of one or more objects in an image, drawing a bounding box around their extent, locate the presence of the objects in an image and indicate their location with a bounding box. Input an image with one or more objects such as photograph. Output one or more bounding boxes. Object detection. Object detection combines these two tasks and localizes and classifies one or more objects in an image, locate the presence of the objects with a bounding box and the type or the classes of the located objects in an image. The input similarly, an image with one or more objects such as photograph. The output is one or more bounding boxes defined by a point with height and a class label for each bounding box. Coming to the important algorithm CNN, which is used in this system. CNN is a specific type of artificial neural network that uses perceptrons, a machine learning unit algorithm for supervised learning, to analyze the data. CNNs apply to image processing, NLP, and other kinds of cognitive tasks. Step 1. Convolutional operation. In this step, we will touch on a feature doctors, which basically serves as a neural network's filters. We will also use the feature maps, learning the parameters of such maps, how patterns are detected, the layers of detection, and how the findings are mapped out. Step 2. Pooling. In this part, we use pooling to reduce the number of parameters to learn and the amount of computation performed in the network. Here we use max pooling or mean or sum pooling to select a max element from the region. Flattening. This will be a brief breakdown of flattening process and how we move from pooled and to flattened layer when working convolutional neural network. Full connection. In this part, we envision a fuller picture of how CNN operate and how the neurons that are finally produced learn the classification of images. So how the CNN module works in our system. So So you can see here in the diagrams different modules works. Module 1, region proposal, generate and extract category independent region proposals. Example, candidate bounding box. The module 2, feature extractor, extract the feature from the each candidate region. Example, using a deep convolutional neural network. Module 3, classifier, classify the feature one of the known class, that is linear SVM classifier model. Feasibility study. The feasibility study comes way before the system design or the architecture, but for the better understanding I added it here. The feasibility study is a study which is conducted once the problem is clearly understood. It's a high-level capsule version of entire system analysis and design process. The purpose of feasibility study is not to solve the problem, but to determine if the problem is worth solving. That is, whether the system which is implemented or the developed is worth developing. So various studies will be conducted on the system. Major of them is technical feasibility, economical feasibility, and operational feasibility. So what the technical feasibility shows is whether the system which can be technically developed, we have the tools to develop this system or not. So this project is developed in Python. Python is a general purpose programming language, and the IDE used is Visual Studio Code. It provides high level reliability and compatibility, so we can say the system is technically feasible. So economical feasibility, this study shows whether the system is worth implementing in terms of money. This system requires only initial implementation cost, no external sensors requires, no maintenance cost is needed, so we can say it is economically feasible. So operational feasibility, the data are stored with security and the live detection using TensorFlow and CNN algorithm to set the signal interval, so we can say the system is operationally feasible. So coming to the requirement sections, hardware requirements and software requirements. We require a processor of Intel i3 3.30 GHz and hard disk 40 GB minimum and RAM 4 GB. OS Windows 7 or above, coding language Python or CSS, framework Flask. So non-functional requirements. Availability of a system may also be increased by strategy of focusing on increasing testability, diagnostics and maintainability and not on reliability. Improving maintainability during the early design phase is generally easier than reliability and testability and diagnostics. Maintainability estimates item repair by replacement rates, also generally more accurate. Accessibility. The concept of accessible design and practice of accessible development ensure both direct access and indirect access, meaning compatibility with a person's assistive technology. Simplicity. The project is driven by a simple UI. Reliability. The system should not crash and should identify invalid input and produce suitable error message. Usability. The UI should be intuitive and easily navigable and user-friendly. Integrity. The software does not store any cache data or doesn't use any system resource in background. So this is the implementation. This is a screenshot of a working system, and we'll see the demo in the later section. Screenshot of another screenshot. System simulation, how our system works in a simulated environment. Let's start with the demo. So how our system works. So in the demo we give the input, the video as an input to the system. The system in the background extracts those frames and counts how many objects in that video. So let's see. As you can see here in the video, whenever the vehicles cross this line, as you can see here, the blue line, whenever the vehicle crosses this blue line, the objects are counted, the vehicles are counted. So the bounding areas are created around the vehicles, and the vehicles are getting classified into different categories, and the count is getting increased, like 13 and 14, and you can see here 15 and then 16. So like this, in the video number of vehicles is getting counted, and this is the traffic. You can see here the traffic video is getting live detected. It's not live, but for the demo purpose it's live detected, and the objects, the vehicles are getting extracted from each frames. This is not an actual video, this is the slowed version of the video, because to extract those frames in the video needs to be get slowed so that the frames can be extracted clearly and the objects can be extracted efficiently. So you can see here the count is getting increased, and demo part is just a one-off of the system. It just shows how the objects are detected when the video is given input to the system, but this system simulation completely shows how the system works. It's just a simulated environment created using Python and Pygame. So this is the simulation. So in the beginning of the simulation, as you can see here, so the signals are set to default 10 seconds at the beginning. So the second route is open and the 10-second count is going down. So the default is 10 seconds at the beginning. So as you can see here, you can imagine the blue line here as in the demo, and whenever these vehicles passes through this line, the count is getting increased. So there are 30 vehicles passed in this route, and 11 in this route, and 5 in this route, and 6 in this route. And as you can see here, the time is started from 23 seconds. That's because of the number of our vehicles that's passed. If there are more number of vehicles in that route, then the system assigns higher signal interval, and if there are less number of vehicles in that route, then the system assigns less number of interval. So as you can see here, only the 10 second set for this because the number of vehicles was less in this route. So let's see if this thing works for this also. So you can see here it was just 10 seconds for this route also because of the number of vehicles was less. So in this route the number of vehicles are already 30. So let's see. So the signal set to 30 automatically. So it is assigning the optimum amount of waiting for each route, because based on that, so that the route in the number of vehicles in that route will be increasing. So whenever the optimum amount of signal waiting time is allotted, the vehicle gets cleared in that route. So these two routes have lesser priority because there are less number of vehicles in it, but these two routes have higher priority. So as you can see here, so 33 seconds was assigned to this signal, this route, because there were many vehicles. So in this vehicle and this route, and you can call this route A and route B, these two routes have higher priorities with vehicles more than 70 plus vehicles, and these two routes you can call them C, and route D has less number of vehicles because maybe these routes have lesser congestion and these routes have higher congestion. So based on this congestion, the optimum amount of signal or the interval is set. This uses the algorithm CNN to set the optimum amount of waiting time. So you can see here the 45 seconds as assigned for this route A, because the number of vehicles that already passed was more than 70. So the system is calculating that there will be a lot more vehicles in this route, so it's assigning 40 seconds so that the vehicles that are getting congested in this route will get cleared if it assigned more. But for these routes it's assigning less because the number of vehicles in that route is less already. So whenever they get congested, only 10 seconds is assigning. So that's the end of the simulation. Coming to the testing section, in software industry, just Showing demo or simulation is not enough to say whether the system meets the requirements or the system is fully acceptable or not. The validation of the system using various types of testing is the correct way to do so. Testing is very important in quality assurance and system reliability. Why do we need this testing? So, finding the defects which may be created while the programmer developing the system, to prevent the defects, to make sure that the end result meets the business and user requirements, to ensure that it satisfies business requirement specification and software requirement specification, to gain the confidence of the customers by providing them with a quality product. So there are many testing like black box testing, white box testing, acceptance testing, system testing, integration testing, and unit testing. So these are the test causes with the positive scenarios. So as you can see here, test case number with a positive scenario, what we require as an input and expected output and actual output, and whether the test result pass or fail. You can say like upload the data set, we need the input video and it should get successfully uploaded, and we actually the output got uploaded. So test result we can say it's pass. Similarly, pre-processing and training video classification and performance analysis got what we expected as output, and the test result is pass. So these are the references, the research papers which based on these research papers the system got implemented, and there are many research papers, the system design diagrams from the Google, and code and implementation from the GitHub. Conclusion: the traffic problem has become a major issue in our daily life. We cannot completely solve this, but at least we can try to minimize this problem. The proposed system works to minimize the congestion and save as much as time it can. The system is also cost effective and efficient, so it makes the perfect replacement for all the existing systems. Future work: by considering this project, we can enhance this to various domains like traffic, aerospace, and any other domain to detect object. This project purpose video processing and machine learning approach, which also utilizes the advanced technology to detect object in given video efficiently. So let's end my presentation with a fact: 58% of our business and technology professionals are researching on AI, but only 12% are using AI system. This gap reflects the growing interest in AI, but a little actual use of at this time. So you can say like if the gap closes or the gap lessens, then we are implementing the AI to solve our day-to-day problems, not just researching it. Thank you.